Hello, welcome back. And so today we are chit-chatting with a very interesting guest who has very particular and somewhat peculiar hobbies. And we are talking about health for the next few episodes. We are chit-chatting, just getting each other's opinions and asking him how he knows certain plants and herbs and things like that. So we are not medical professionals. If you disagree, that is totally fine. We just hanging out and talking. So thank y'all so much for checking out the episode, and let's get into the show. Y'all, welcome back to the Quality Cup Life podcast. I have a guest today. He's technically not a guest anymore. He's been on enough for you to recognize his voice if you have consumed enough episodes. But anyway, so the theme that we have is health, and so I brought the man that be on it, all in the bushes and in the woods and has all the herbs and all the things. And he is super knowledgeable about this stuff, and I really think he's a very super fascinating guy. And so we talking to Jalen today. What's up, Jalen?
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Nice. Glad to be here.
You feeling all right?
Oh yeah. It's hot, but I'm okay.
It's roasting out here. And Stefan, how are you feeling today?
Doing phenomenal as always.
Okay. Phenomenal as always. I like it. Oh, and y'all, just to let y'all know, if y'all hear people in the back, it's aunties over there. So, Jalen, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, I'm from Orangeburg, South Carolina. Orangeburg and Bamberg. Those are the places that I claim, you know. I was born in Orangeburg, then I went back to Bamberg until like 4, and then I moved back to Orangeburg. So Bamberg and Orangeburg are places that have raised me. I have been doing plant work for at least since I was 7 years old. I used to like eat the fruits that used to be wild into the area, and then I would also use some. Mom would tell me how to use some of those, how they use some of them growing up. I kind of abandoned it for a little bit, for a long time, so that's what, like, growing up, you find other things that you are interested in doing.
For sure.
So, like, cooking was one. So that's how I went going to culinary school and everything. I went to the culinary school at Johnson Wells for 4 years in Charlotte, North Carolina. And with that, I was able to kind of sharpen my skills. I always loved the herbs, always. So when it came to that in class, I always knew we would have this a herb day, and you would have to point out herbs that you just know. I always won. Cool. I always won for that reason. That's what kind of made me love food, how to flavor it, how to manipulate it with herbs. But then I kind of started to realize I didn't want to do the culinary life. Still had love for the herbs, so I just started to just go back to what I was used to at home. It wasn't until 2020, when I was living in Charlotte, when the pandemic came. So that's when I moved. I moved to Columbia. And that's when I started to get myself familiar with the herbs. I had a job that was right next to my house. So I would walk there, I would take a little cut, and that's how I remember some of these plants that I started to see. Okay. And during the seasons, it would change, some would die off, and you have more that will emerge from the ground. So I remember those things, and it kind of brought me back into that wildlife, I guess, or that life of self-sustainability. So that's what I practice. I try to always practice how to do for myself.
Yeah, because, if we have another pandemic,
That was my biggest worry. When we have another pandemic, what am I going to do? Yeah. I just found out that my fiance was pregnant, so we was moving, transitioning, because we didn't want to raise our child in Charlotte. So.
Oh, that was a no for you?
That was a no. It was more than a no. But because Charlotte's had a lot of crime going on.
I didn't know that.
And a lot of human trafficking. They're very big on that.
That makes sense. I was gonna say I don't know that, but a lot of bigger cities tend to have a lot of human trafficking going on.
And those highways are just circles on top of circles on top of circles, and you can easily just blend in with another car and get on the highway and you gone. Hit an exit, hit another exit, you gone. So I got tired of that. I I was almost victim of that. Somebody tried to take me one time, but I decided it was time to go. The life there was violent, and it was just too much. And I noticed they didn't have a lot of trees. Not like we do in South Carolina.
Yeah.
The trees bring you oxygen.
Yeah.
So, like in places like New York too, I'm probably going off topic, but they don't have a lot of trees. So you're not able to get a lot of oxygen to the brain. It's very scarce, which is why a lot of them are, crazier.
Yeah. Yeah. And
It's
then,
an imbalance.
Have, I think breathing sometimes issues and stuff like that.
It's a real imbalance with plenty of things.
What I meant to say was like the air is a little more toxic, it's less clean.
Very much so.
Especially
and they have to breathe that.
Yeah, the industrial stuff going on, all the cars and all the plants and things, like the industrial plants, not like plants.
And some what were born there, they've been breathing that since day one.
Yeah.
So I just noticed I need to be back home, where the air is more fresh, where everything is more fresh.
I think when the shutdown first happened, we all went out to the country. My dad lives in the country, and my grandma was like, the air is cleaner out here. And my grandma don't live in like the city, but she lives here. But she was like, yeah, the air is even cleaner. The air is fresher out here and stuff like that. And I was like, I never noticed that.
I always said, when it's time, when the world get crazy, catch me where the Spanish moss grow, because that's where they grow in clean air. So that's how I know I'm in clean air when I see Spanish.
So how you know that though?
Well, I know a lot of native knowledge. I used to study a lot of native knowledge, and then the elders be passing on things. And when they do, they just be talking, just passing on things. And I be writing it in my notes on my phone on a piece of paper. If I gotta write it on a napkin, I will. The napkin be all crumbly, and I'm passing it on, holding it for dear life, because it's knowledge, it's information. So I'm a hoarder of information, sadly. But yes, that's who I am. I like different things. I have a wide variety of food that I like to eat. Some of it I can't even find in the store. I have to go out here and get it.
This man be out in the forest, in the bushes, picking stuff and up trees and all kind of stuff.
Up tree high, I go down by the waterside. I go up the hills for what I need. I do it. I do it in the daytime, I do it in the morning especially, and then for certain, like in the wintertime, I go at night, pitch black, dark, with a cell phone for light, looking for things, that's what I need, which can be a trouble because sometimes you run into deers who will have their babies around that time, or they're mating until they get very aggressive.
I didn't know
They
that.
hiss.
Deers hiss?
Deers hiss like snakes.
That's
Creeped me out when I first heard that. I tell you that.
Oh, it was right there in front of you?
Oh yeah, it was right behind me. I get so up close to these things. I had plenty of time when they tried to run and jump at me because they came out of the maypop bushes eating on the maypops in the morning time. And they heard my footsteps. They heard me talking on the camera and stuff. So they got afraid and they ran.
That's crazy. I never knew they hiss or they get aggressive. Because usually I just see them run away if they see.
They play
people.
like children. The babies. Yeah. They'll play tag. They'll sniff or sniff or bite at each other's tail and run off, and the other one chase after them. And I get to see all of that, and it just brings me a different perspective into life. Yeah. Like they're children, just like some of us, in a sense. Yeah. So when I see a lot of different programs like saving them or protecting them, I understand it because I'm there. So yeah, that's me.
For sure. So what kind of stuff do you forage for? What's your favorite things to go out there and look for?
My favorite thing to go forage is, I love foraging cheney root, cocoa mecca cheney root. I love to forage for it because it takes a long time to get it. It's in, like Jamaicans will say, it's in the ginger family, but it's like big rhinestones, huge rhinestones. I even see some of the saplings back here, but they grow, and when you dig it up, you get the first part, the first layer. All right, you get the first layer, and then when you dig it to the bottom, the older ones come. The first layer is always white looking. The older layer is brown, they get very red, but they're very heavy to pick up. It's like picking it up for sometimes it can weigh over 100 plus pounds. And I have it in big bag, carrying it. And I only weigh about 150 on a good day, 147 on a normal one. So I'll carry a lot of herbs that weigh more than me. But this herb is about iron. It has the highest amount of iron in any plant outside of its cousin, the sarsaparilla being number 1. It's good for back pain, pain in the body in general. It's a good aphrodisiac. So a lot of people in the country parts of Jamaica, they'll call them bedroom bully. It's the name of the herb. That's what they call it. Or they make a tonic called bedroom bully. And this is the main star in it. Because it's good for having children.
Keeps you good and fertile.
Yes, it does. It keeps.
So where do you happen to find all this? Like, you found all this yourself?
I found all of it myself.
Oh, wow. That's
I
cool.
have huge bins at the house full of it. I grind it up sometime and I season it in my food. If I make a nice stew or so, I put it in there. Even for like, I would grind it up and just put it like for tea. So that way I can consume everything, not just the juice. So it can be more effective that way. It's also good for bedwetters. Babies will, wet the bed and stuff. And it brings smart children, very intelligent children, because the plant itself is intelligent. When I mean that, I mean to be graphic or to be honest and blunt with it. You don't have to go through ejaculation to have a baby with this one. The elders will tell you it make your swimmers swim. So just pre-ejaculation, before you can even get to that, you can bring a child into this world. So I tell people all the time, you want this herb, be careful, be careful. I have helped people who were infertile and who lost a child with this right here. And now they have a child that is coming to this world.
So how you spell that? What's the name of it again?
Cheney root, cocoa mecha cheney root, COCOLMECA. Cocoa mecha. Yeah, that's right. Cocoa mecha cheney root, COCOLMECA. Cheney, CHANEY, root, ROOT. This is like my favorite herb. It gives you energy. It's an appetite suppressant too. So if you have fasting, a lot of people will fast, have a main issue because they forget about the necessary minerals that our body needs. So you can do without corn, you can do without rice, but you need to have iron. That's one of the most important ones. Iron, potassium, copper, calcium. But this one, magnesium, but this one is high in iron. So you can fast for a couple of days and just drink this.
Yeah, I ain't doing that, but I feel you.
Well, I have done it, and I have with people who need to like cleanse certain things, like if they have like pancreatitis or so, they may have to cleanse their body, or they have colon issues, they got to cleanse their whole colon.
Oh, maybe I didn't do that because my colon don't be colon like that.
And this helps. It helps with the colon. It's very good. It's for the digestive system. This is one of my favorite ones to go gather. The other one I like is Life Everlasting. I didn't bring none with me today, but it's my favorite plant, in the world. This one is my favorite root in the world. The Life Everlasting, I get it around October, December, early part of December time. October, November, early part of December. But that one there is for respiratory. It's good for the immune system. It's anti-aging, just like this is anti-aging. So those two, it allows you to, one, look beautiful for a long time. Or if you don't look beautiful, you just look how you are for a long time. And it allows you to also live long. In the name, Life Everlasting, is that for a plethora of reasons. So it's good for, helping you live long and then stay on the shelf long.
Okay.
So it's everlasting. It can be used for a long time. It can be in storage for a long time. As long as it's kept in a place that's dark and dry, dark, dry, cool place, it can last for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones there. And I give it to my son. I give it to my babies. When they were 1 month, I started giving it to them. When my son had to go to the hospital for a hernia procedure, I had him drink that nonstop so that way it can be a shield for his body. And even when he got home, he drank some more. So that is one of my favorite ones. COVID can't exist, it can't exist in the body with this plant right here. It's just like a shield, that and the dandelion greens.
Okay, so I know about the dandelion. That cocoa, I ain't never heard of that one, but I'm with you with the dandelion.
Because people go all the way to Jamaica and Honduras to get the herb, and I'm just like, it grows here. And it's probably maybe in a better, I don't want to say this, they'd be like, they'd be ready to fight, but it may be in a better state of medicinal property because it's not tampered with as much. People don't know about it. People cut it. I was back home, and there was a lady who lived a couple of doors down from me, and she and her people, they cut it down when they was cutting the grass, and they just threw it alongside the trash. I said, she is crazy. And I took it with me because they don't realize it. It grows in a lot of impoverished areas, and I'm excited by just saying that the Most High brings us everything we need. It grows in our house or around our house, and we just cut the grass. We put Roundup, to get rid of it, which will give you cancer. Roundup give you cancer. But everything we need basically grows for us. So that is my two favorites right there.
Okay. Yeah, I think, everything kind of has to grow for us to even exist here in the first place. I think, it's just you don't know what you don't know. I definitely wouldn't know if I saw it. I know what a dandelion looks like, but some other stuff I wouldn't know a thing.
See, it's kind of like I've been in the bushes all my life. I really say bushman because not a bush or medicine man, which I use interchangeably, but I say that not for advertisement, but that's just who I am. Climbing up trees and stuff, I've been doing that since I was young, and you think I'd grow out of it, 27, 3 years shy of 30, but I'm still in the trees like that. If it was something I need, I would go up that tree.
Oh, he tripping. Y'all should see the tree.
I don't mind. It's an angel oak tree. And I don't mind.
I mind.
That's just me. And it's hard to say what's my favorite herbs. I'll tell you one, but I'm thinking about seasons. But different seasons, I have different things I like. Springtime, I love the flowers. I love the fruits. Like the Chickasaw plums, in the fall you have the persimmons.
Okay, I know what those are.
Yeah, very good.
They're those are the orange ones, right? They orange? Yeah, okay. I never heard of them until I worked at this health food grocery store. People were like, yeah, they're good. They taste like, I forgot what they told me it tastes like. They look almost like tomatoes.
Yeah, but see, the ones that I get are this small. And the other ones are even smaller that I get. Because in nature, a lot of things grow smaller, unless you're talking about tubers and roots. They can go to any size. But the fruits that we have are very small. Nature gives stuff in quantities, but we have grown to be very greedy in life, I told you yesterday, an elder told me we wanted our grits and we had our grits in took 20 to 25 minutes. Y'all get showers in 5 minutes with the instant grits or less. We want ours now. We demand it now. High demand.
Yeah, for sure. I think it makes sense if you got a lot of people in one area because everybody wants to be in this popular area. You kind of, I don't want to say have to, but you kind of end up trying to make the production more so that way everybody can get fed or whatever. So it makes sense. It's just kind of rough when you start to manipulate, nature.
That's the only thing. When you manipulate nature so that you can get a mass production, you see a lot of health declines, because of the stuff they're using, the preservatives and things like that. Processed foods, it just make it bad.
Yeah. For sure. And then everybody's like, we in South Carolina, so it's not really the fast life like that, but I think in South Carolina we be lying to ourselves and acting like we in the fast life. We ain't got time. We got to pull off the McDonald's, get the baby chicken, what's it called? Happy Meal every day. We gonna hit McDonald's, Taco Bell tomorrow, Burger King the next day. We gonna hit KFC after that. Then we gonna go back to McDonald's. Yeah, it is too much. And even yesterday, we were talking about how kids are developing super early, which is kind of wild.
And that's scary. You know, you have girls who are 9 years old and they have breasts and they have like, you know.
They got a whole woman body.
Yeah, a whole woman body.
Like a child.
It's because all that food, like the hormones that they have is being pumped into the food.
Yeah.
And it's funny, it'll let you know, they'll tell on themselves. They'll say, let's say they have a certain special. They'll say, oh, this chicken right here, this chicken sandwich right here is made without hormones. But they have other foods and stuff like that too. They don't mention that one, so that's how you know those foods have hormones.
So is it difficult, like trying to avoid that stuff when it comes to feeding and growing your own children?
Yeah, it can be difficult. You know, especially when you have to work long hours and jobs, and then you want to come back and the food that is healthy for you can take a long time to make.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why sometimes you have to prep it the night before, or just things like that to kind of get you there. Because if you fall into fall victim to the ploy, I call it, then you will be much like them, eating the same foods, eating the same trash. So what I do, it takes a lot of work, especially the fact that I'm the only one who does it. I don't have a team or a party or nobody with me.
Your wife said she ain't doing all of that?
No, and then still like she, like our children, she watches and stuff. So it's also me trying to make time that me not trying to go over the time so that way I'm not missing, quality time with them.
For sure.
I'm already missing quality time with them being at work, but then when I have to leave my job on paper, job on file to go to the job that I do outside of my work, it can be a lot. Sometimes I don't come home till like 6 or 7 o'clock. While they had a whole day.
Yeah.
And I don't always like that.
Yeah.
But I do know, like, I have tried to stop before, and then my son or somebody I love will get sick. And I know how to get it, but I just have to go up the hills for it. And every time I help them or so, they get better. Versus them going to a doctor pumping them with this or shooting them with that, and then it may worsen the problem or cause other problems.
Yeah. But I've heard that too, listening to other health podcasts. Shout out to the Sean Stevenson, the Model Health Show. That's my uncle in my head. But he talks about how like a lot of medicines will have side effects, and like if you ever, I don't know if y'all still watch TV. I don't, but. I haven't had cable in several years, but the commercials, they'll have like advertised medicine and stuff like that, and then at the end they'll like speed through the side effects. Yeah, a long line of side effects. Yeah, and then maybe a few years later they'll come back with commercials talking about if you've been diagnosed with this because you took this medicine, call this and we can help you sue the company or whatever. And that's kind of wild. I can't lie.
So when it comes to like your family, like your kids and your wife, do you usually like do your best to find a more natural resource before you have them take a pill or a shot or something?
Like I say, for example, if my son, who is 9 months now, he's growing teeth. So if his teeth start to swell or the gums start to swell, it swell, they get itchy, they get fussy. So versus just giving them like the Motrin or whatever, or for fevers or so, what I will do is I'll find other things. Get them catnip or get them aster to help with the teething part. So that will help. Chamomile to kind of relax them. But if it continues, then
you might get a little bit of yeah.
I never give it to him, but my wife might give it to him while I ain't looking.
And is she on like the same page with you with the health stuff, or is she like 50-50 or?
50-50. So, but she do support, like she'll tell me all the time, I keep forgetting to do, but she'll tell me to just write the labels on some of the things so that way if you are too tired for work and you need me to make you something, or if the children don't feel good and they make you something, I can easily get to it versus asking you, taking a picture, is this it? So yeah, she helps because she knows like the bad side of the doctors. We both experienced doctors in a negative way that kind of shaped our life and how we want to raise our children. So yeah, she do well with that. When she cooks, she sprinkles like the chutney root powder into our food, or if I have curly dark greens or so, she'll add that. So yeah,
Yeah,
I like
can go
that.
with turmeric a little bit. I'll sprinkle it in it. You can't taste it, but I'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
real quick.
Yeah.
So hold on, let me. I just realized I got water for y'all, and I left it in the car.
Cool. Okay. So how you know what to do? Come on, words. How do you know what to do with what you find? Like how to prepare it and stuff like that. How do you learn that stuff?
I'll ask either elders or people that is close in the tribe. Like if I got friends,
Mm-hmm.
like if there's a plant that is indigenous to, let's say, Brazil or Jamaica, 'cause I got friends in Brazil and Jamaica. So I ask them, you know, like especially if I know they do plant, how do y'all typically do with this one right here? You know, or I'll just research. That's my first thing I like to do. I like to research it. If I have the elders in my community or my family that don't know of it, I'll research it. And then from there, I'll continue. Like researching is a long process for me.
Oh, I know.
Because if I see different tribes that use it, I go to each tribe and I see how they use it.
So do you like go like on Facebook and find groups or something, or?
Yeah,
I have done that.
Brazil and Jamaica.
See, well, a lot of my friends at the time knew me because of my art, my paintings, the visual, the expressionist art that I would do, and they wanted paintings from that when they saw it. Then I didn't know that they also did that in their culture. So when I kind of shifted my focus on these profiles, because I was known as the artist for the longest, now I'm known as the medicine man and the basket maker. But they followed my work. You know, they saw I did something new, they still follow my work, and then I started to see that they knew of those things, and then we ended up having conversations. We would call each other, have long conversations about just anything, and then they would tell me like how they use them. When I first found Cheney root, I asked one of my friends, I said, what is this? Is this Cheney root? Because I thought it was. And then like, there's things about it oxidizes just like like the Cheney root. So when the shovel hit it, and I saw that the color was coming red, and I had them on the phone, they was like, yeah, that's it. So easy like that, you know. That's an example of how I would. Or if I was to ask an elder from back home how they would use sassafras, because I use sassafras.
I've heard of sassafras, but I've never, like on TV, I've never heard of it, you know?
Well,
I didn't know that was something you eat, like you consume.
Yeah, it's a aphrodisiac too. So a lot of the men and women will use it for that, you know, when they want to spark, they love spice into their life or whatever like that. And they will use it it's good for the heart. But the elders will tell me things like this. They'll say, be careful not to pull it up at a certain time when it's out of its season, because it can make you blind. You'll go blind. Right. I never found out the truth into that, but I always understood that, and I always abide by their rules.
Yeah, you ain't got to tell me
I ain't
twice.
got time, because no. So
I don't blame you.
that's a way in itself. Had I not done that, I would have used it in the wrong time, and then boom, it could have actually happened if that is a thing, or if that was just trying to scare me. But majority of the time when they tell me plant stuff, they tell me things that their ancestors, they, you know, foreparents told them. So that's how I know about like how to use them.
And there's like no other media that you may use, like any books you read or.
In the beginning, when I moved back to South Carolina in 2010, I wanted to reconnect with it. So I thought I had to buy books and stuff. I bought a whole bunch of books, and I was studying on them, and then some of the stuff they were saying I didn't agree with. So I said, I can't be debating with books. I'll read them, and the stuff that were true, I would like underline or keep. But yeah, I didn't do too well on some of the books. There is a nice book in particular, I can't think of the name of it, but it's South American. I like cultural books that study the Native Americans or any cultural tribe. You don't even have to be their main focus herbs, but if they study on them and they talk about what they're doing and what they're using, that's a great way of learning right there, because they're just gonna give you the plain facts. If it's about a book, they might try to embellish it or make, you know, so, but if they're copying the lifestyle of a person, watching them do something and writing it down, asking questions, I like those better. So those help. Don't exactly know what to call those, maybe like a documentary written down or so. But I like to watch the documentaries too. I also like to look at, sometimes I can find information on Facebook, through different groups or different conversations, like with different cultures. They'll talk about like something, let's say if it's harvesting day in their culture, where they harvest a certain plant, they might talk about the plant more. Yeah, that's really how I do it. I research, even Twitter, I find conversations.
That's an interesting one.
Twitter, Tumblr,
Tumblr,
Instagram.
Tumblr.
I haven't been on Tumblr in a long time either,
You don't
but
use Reddit?
Reddit, sometimes, like when people are like contemplating on a certain topic, I look at that more for just, I don't want to say insight, but just for like notes on the side. So they tell me about something that I may not know is factual, I'll write that on the side and put a question mark. It just kind of helped me as I go on throughout the day or go on throughout, my journey.
Yeah, that's cool. I think I was watching like a clip from Joe Rogan's podcast, and there's this guy, I think his name is Jimmy Chow or something like that, but he when he was young, he went to Africa, I think, and he was with I forget what the name of the tribe is, but he was talking about how they forage for everything that they get. They have to hunt and forage for everything, and he said that there's scientists that'll come and steal their poop to like study it and stuff for the microbiome.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's kind of wild. I guess because it's such a healthy like variety of microbes in their gut. That's kind of crazy though, because if scientists are going over there to study it and stuff like that, clearly you got all these people over here, you ain't studying none of us, so like
There's a guy, his name is...
So I think that's interesting though.
I'm gonna go exactly to the conversation that you're talking about, but there's a guy who passed. Everybody know him, the infamous Dr. Sebi. You know Dr. Sebi? And he talked about the ancient people back in the day, like in Africa, and how they would harvest certain foods. And see, back then at the time, there weren't too much manipulation with food. So a lot of the food was carbon-based, or the word that people like to use, alkaline. To the point where the people would forage, they would forage for their food, and with doing that so, they ate fresh. They had clean diets to the point that their bowel movements were biodegradable. Wouldn't have a smell or anything like that, any odor. But they would use that for fertilizing.
Their own feces?
For fertilizing. Certain trees, It wasn't a lot of toxicity in their poop.
That makes sense, because people use animal feces for fertilizer.
Now we can't do that though. The foods that we eat now, we can't do that. It'll get us sick. You can't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Whatever you eating, you gonna feed back to the plants. You gonna be eating that or whatever.
I mean, but that's interesting though, because like if we already eating it, like
yeah,
that's like, isn't it ironic though?
What?
It's coming from us, but we can't put it back into the ground because it's gonna make the planet worse, and then we're gonna eat it again. Like, I don't know, it's just very ironic.
We go through a lot of toxins throughout life and stuff, throughout the day.
Yeah,
so
it makes it worse when you eat some more.
So since you say that, what is like the diet and stuff look like for your own family?
Well,
or is it like you hit or miss sometimes, or?
It's a hit or miss. Like, my wife still eats, traditionally, like everyone else. I put at least 75% of forage food into my body. So
must forage a lot.
I used to forage all the time. I just recently moved, so I'm having a little riff-raff with that, because where I live at now, it's not a lot of field readily available for me. But there is some things in my backyard that I found, but I love picking like some of those things because I can't find them in stores. When we do find them in stores, they're buku expensive.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you mean like in like a health food store or something?
Health food store, chanterelle mushrooms and morel mushrooms can go to like $70 a pound versus me just
For some
picking one up and
mushrooms?
just finding it. Yeah. They're very expensive.
Or if it's not that much, you can only get like maybe 3 or 1, 2, something like that. You can't get like a ton of it.
And the mushrooms, what they do, like growing like in the dark or grow into these like little, how do you call them? Say, like the indoor mushrooms people be having.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's nice. It is. At least they're getting it, but they don't have the nutrients from the sun.
Yeah. There's it's a company that competes with Four Sigmatic. I forget what it's called. They like make mushroom infused like coffee and teas and stuff like that. They do like a lot of,
Is it like Alexa something?
I don't remember what it's called, but I used to work in the wellness department in a health food store, and they would send like I guess like representatives for the company or whatever, and they would explain it to me, and the manager, the lady that was over me and over the section or whatever, over the wellness section, and she was explaining how this company was different from Four Sigmatic, and she was talking about how they grow it basically inside, indoors, and like some water. I forgot how she explained it to me, and I was like, that sounds kind of odd, but okay. Like I thought it was kind of. But she explained why they did it, but that was over a year ago, so I don't quite remember all of it. But that's so interesting, though. The people have figured out how to grow stuff inside in the dark.
Science. It's a lot of science. But see, when you cover things up, even plants, indoor plants, when you cover them up, they don't always get as big. They don't get to flex their foliage, you know. They don't get to do that, and like. The sun really charge up certain plants, all plants. They give you minerals, give you nutrients.
Us too.
Us especially, you know. So when you don't have those things, it's gonna be a imbalance.
So why do you think that stuff is so important, though? Can you explain to us and all the people who might be catching this? No, like why is it so important to eat more stuff from the earth, so to speak?
It's important because you'll have energy. That's one thing. A lot of people either die from, when it comes to a lack of sleep, so sleep deprivation when we come from working, but bad health in itself. Bad health can be a number of things. It'll cause violence, it'll cause depression, suicidal thoughts, even because your chemicals, hormones are unbalanced. But it's very important to eat natural because you end up, what's the word, I guess? You end up getting all the nutrients that your body needs. If you go to a store and you get those same foods, a lot of the nutrients, a lot of the medicinal properties have been bred out so they can have room for, like I tell you, like the size and for the sweetness if they need to embellish some of that and add on, add on like sweeteners that aren't natural.
Yeah.
So that's really important. You want to know where food comes from. Food and culture connects. Like going out to get things with people, that's how they usually would do it. They would go out with people. I mean, conversations start, stories can bring about, but that's just the culture, and you lose that side. It's a nice reward when you gather food or plants and then you use it. Like let's say for example, you gardening and you watch that thing grow.
Yeah, it's like a different type of connection.
A different type of connection. Same like I check the field, what I call God's garden. That's what I call like the land around here that I use, but I go and I check it daily. I check it, every other day or so, and I get to see something start to a flower. Then the flower push out, and then it'll start from a fruit. And then it'll grow, change colors, it'll get bigger, and then just the reward itself of just finally getting to taste it.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like the growth of a child almost, watching them like develop into a whole human. You like,
except the fact that we don't eat our children, but
It's a good point.
everything else is what I appreciate.
keep talking. I just want
Okay.
to check it real quick.
But that is one of my main reasons why I would kind of consider, like, I'll push people to eat healthy, because you get to live longer. You get to enjoy things. My granddad, when he left this world, he was still able to walk. You know, and that's real important to me. You can still walk, you can still talk. I want to be able to still do those things. I want to have the best chance of just living my life. I watch a lot of people that I love dearly just die to illnesses. Now, me knowing what I know, I can help them, you know? And I think that's kind of what brought me into this. I had to probably lose important people in order to want to do this calling, to keep people here. I probably wouldn't be able to have that love if I wouldn't have lost people.
Same.
So,
Let me ask you this. So what you do about people who use, or how do you like process seeing people who are, to put it bluntly, killing themselves slowly?
Self-inflicted.
Yeah,
And they
killing
don't want
themselves.
the help.
Exactly.
Oh,
But how
my
do you,
God.
how you process that?
I have to learn to desensitize myself in a way, not completely to the point where I'm just blatantly disrespectful, but to not invest so much in my emotions. That is the biggest thing for me when I first started. I wanted to help everybody.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to try to sell it to them basically without even buying to them, but to convince and sell it to them in their mind that it's good for them. And I noticed I had to stop doing that. I had to put a price and make people pay for it, because people are more prone to use what they pay for. Now, if they don't, you know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying?
Bruh.
They're more prone to use what they pay for it, and especially if it can be,
this for the longest.
you have to put a price or a value.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. We're putting a price, but it's really a value.
Yeah.
You have to put a value on things because it'll make people want to use it. They're not gonna just sit in their cabinet and then just have it there until they move out.
Bruh, I'm trying to tell you, because people don't, if they don't put nothing, if they don't invest anything in stuff, people won't value it. And if they don't value it, then you wasted your breath, you wasted your time, you wasted your resources.
Fix your mic.
Oh, fix yours too?
Yours pointing down.
Yours was too? I looked over there and saw it. Just pull it down. Yeah, you good. But yeah, like people will just, you'll waste all of your, and that's exactly why this is called quality cup life, because you got to pour into your own cup first, because people will use, well, it won't, not use you, but like, you'll be spending so much time trying to help people and trying to convince them, and they like, that's cute and that's cool and all, but you can go about your business, you can get out my face with that, but that's cool.
People are so lazy. They're so lazy. It's to the point where they're lazy to live. And I mean, I'll explain what I mean, but if breathing didn't come second nature to us, people would just be dead. I gotta breathe again. Here, you know what I mean? But I say that to say, like, you can't make people do nothing, and to kind of go left again, but I eventually go back to where I need to. I have a book, 2 books that I'm writing. But one thing that my character says when I thought about you, it was like, you have to pour into your own cup. Because how you trying to pour in my cup? Where you gonna pour from? It's empty.
Oh yeah.
So you can't pour empty, your cup is empty, you can't pour an empty cup into mine and call it full.
Yeah.
So people have to take care of themselves, make sure their cup is full. I have to make sure that my health is okay before I try to push health on other people, or otherwise I'm a, hypocrite. And I've had people who, they live in the same area, or, and they can drive to me, but they won't do that.
Yeah.
They'll want me to drop the herb off while I'm going this way, or because it's closer to their house. Or I have to basically ask them, did you get this herb? I left it at my mom's house. Can you get it? They won't get it.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, because I think you made a good point. People are kind of lazy to live, but because I think it's interesting that you say that, because I think that's very relevant to like our community specifically, Black people specifically. Like a lot of people on the community probably die from congestive heart failure or something like that. We had the funeral for them, and then fried chicken during the funeral. at the repast. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with it. But it's just counterintuitive, if that makes sense.
It's a contradiction.
There you go.
When I die, before I die, I'm doing the criteria, okay? I'm gonna have it all. I'm gonna have the itinerary, what we gonna do, what time we gonna set up, what we gonna eat. Everybody taking a shot before they get into the funeral and to the home where they're gonna be having the repast and the setup. Yeah, they're gonna be taking a tincture shot of my medicine that I left behind. Yes.
Okay.
But
So
keep
better go ahead and get your wife the labels.
Keep their health up because like they'll be sitting there crying. I'm just like, I told you she was gonna die. to be very blunt with it, but not blunt in my head. Like I gave you the signs that she need to take this, she need to take that. And then when a person dies, they boo-hoo cry because you didn't feel like driving up here to get it for her. I don't say stuff like that, but in my head, if I do say it, I'll be just reckless. But yeah, like I wish people would not be lazy, and laziness is a killer for us. I don't know why. Is it the fact that we worked for almost 400 years and now we say I'm done? And we got this quote unquote permanent laziness, or quote unquote we too chill back. We too chill.
Yeah, I can see that. And to quote Sean again, Sean Stevenson, he on one of his podcasts he said that people are they're not living longer, they're dying longer. Like the what's it called? Like the medicine that doctors will prescribe for certain stuff, it won't fix the original problem. It'll just treat the symptom. It'll like hide the symptom, I guess. So it'll keep them alive longer, but they're not fully living, they're dying. It takes them longer to die, if that. The way he put it, I was just like...
Yeah, and it's sad. It's very depressing, but whatever we eat, even if it's a piece of candy or chewing on bubble gum, it either helps us continue to live, or it just kills us slowly.
Yeah.
We all on a TikTok timer. Sometimes what we eat, just turn it a little more, a little faster.
I'm sorry.
You're good. What are you gonna say?
No, I was curious as to so when you out and about, or if you see something online or something, what's the worst thing you see, people may put in their body most frequently, that eat most often?
Oh my goodness, it's the seafood and the cheese. Cheese on this, cheese on that, cheese. I'm just like, stop it.
Cheese tastes so good.
I just want to go on my screen and just wipe it off. Too much sauce. I see that. I see people always wanting to fry stuff in Doritos. I want to call the police every time, but it's not a crime, so I can't do it. But everybody always has to put seafood in something. Shrimp this, shrimp that. And it just be too much. But I would have to say cheese and bacon.
Cheese and bacon?
Yes, people put bacon on everything. Bacon on macaroni. On desserts. Bacon on a donut.
Yeah.
I said, what?
I'm surprised you didn't say seed oils or something.
Lord, let me get started on that. I'm glad you're right there next to it. That one there is a killer for the belly.
Yeah.
That canola oil and that vegetable oil.
Ooh, inflammation.
Inflammation, because it's not really canola oil. Go online and look for canola oil, or go into like botany or whatever and look at, see if you can find canola oil.
Yeah, they'll burn every single piece of nutrients out of it.
And it's not even it's not an oil called it's not a plant called canola. The plant is a seed called rapeseed.
Oh yeah.
From the name of it, don't sound appealing, but rapeseed, that's what it is. It's like cotton. But they extract the oil from that. It's the worst.
And they process it.
It's the worst. That and soy. Soy is another one.
Oh yeah, I know. I've heard soy messes with your hormones.
It does. For men.
For men, and they can get what you got, man boobs and testosterone.
Moves.
There's a name for it. I can't.
Moves.
They get moves.
Testosterone levels go down. Yeah.
It's not a
They
thing.
get the hips and all, you know.
I believe, who was that? Either Dr. Sebi or Dick Gregory. One of them was talking, and then I started to do the research too, and they mentioned how George Washington Carver,
Mhm.
you know, he discovered the peanut and all that, and the soy, but he was studying it for different reasons.
Mhm.
The soy wasn't supposed to be eaten,
Mhm.
but it's easy to grow.
Mhm.
It don't have no type of nutritional value, so you're eating blanks.
That's crazy.
Eating blanks.
It's equivalent to that SpongeBob episode when the holographic meat.
Oh, he said
He was eating like that. It's the same thing. It just only difference is we can taste it and we can feel the structure of the food as we break it down. That's the only difference. But it's blank food.
Blank.
You
Is
eating
soy
on
and
blanks.
tofu the same thing? Is that the same thing? Or is that something else?
It's made from soy, and tofu is not good for people, especially not black people. See, understand, like, the diets. People say we are all one. That's a lie. And I probably get canceled for saying stuff like that. But we're not all one. They want to blend us all up together like a puree soup, but we're a stew. We have different things. You have the okra, you know, the wild carrots, and this and that, you know, the onion. And they all come together and they make something. When I say that to say black people are not the same as other races. So we have other diets that we need.
Yeah,
A lot of
genetically
us,
it's not- yeah.
genetically. That's why you have you can get a blood test, you can see what type of food you should be eating. But
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Even like just, I need to check this to make sure we can be seen because it's extra bright out here right now. But even the fact that we can sit in the sun and like not get sunburned, we need a lot more sun and vitamin D than people who have less melanin than us. Cause we like. I did band for 6 years. Every summer we had band camp. I didn't need no sunscreen. I was cool. Like I just had like coconut oil after I get out of the shower, boom, boom, go to band practice. I was good. All of my lighter colored brothers and sisters will be out there. If not, bro, the skin be peeling and it's red and it hurts and they get all burned up. And I'm like, dang, I'm good. I get a little tan and we good.
that's the thing about us. Like, we have carbon. And people call it melanin, but in science, where we have carbon into our skin, so that's gonna keep us okay. And another thing that, when I say that we are different, I mean that the fact of our diets, we need iron. We need food that has iron. A lot of black people are iron deficient.
You're right, because everybody chewed on ice.
There you go, chewing on ice. A big indication where you need
Chewing
iron.
on ice.
But a lot of the foods that we had into our our mother countries where we live was full of iron. So we eat grits now. We love grits, but grits mimic fonio, kamut berries, where you grind up and it tastes like a grit. Fonio, Fonio. It's a type of grain, very small, but it has iron in it, and we ate that. In places like Sierra Leone, Senegal, we ate those things. Congo, I believe they eat that as well too, but we don't have that. In America, it don't grow in America. So we had to kind of push back to something that was very similar.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of Native Americans eating corn that they grind up. And they would have that, a porridge. Every culture has like some type of porridge. So we adopted that from them. It tastes like grits. It reminded them of back home. So they adopted that into their diets. But by adopting that, we also neglected those foods. So, and I can talk about the wild yam too. Those foods have some iron in it too, but now we couldn't find that. It grows here, but we couldn't find that, readily available. So we have sweet potato. And sweet potato, it tastes good, but it don't have the necessary nutrients that we need.
You know what's crazy? I think I was telling you this the other day, but I thought that yams, like for Thanksgiving when they would put yams on the table, I thought yams were made out of sweet potato until I worked at the health food store. We sold like 4 different types of sweet potatoes, but they were like, this was a regular sweet potato, this was a purple yam, this was this type of yam, that type of yam. And I was like, yo, this is a real thing. I was like, what?
Very huge, man.
Yeah, there's different colors. I was like, this is wild. That's kind of crazy. I never knew.
So yeah, that's like the diets, you know, at very big. We have to put a distinction on ourselves. We can't wrap ourselves with the idea, that American idea that we are all the same. Because that end up tricking us, or it end up hindering us from doing better. You know, equality, we should all be the same, but when it comes to food, we're not even the same equality, but we should all be the same in that. But when it comes to foods, we can't always be the same.
Yeah.
We have to put a distinction, and we have to eat the foods that we did. Like spinach, people eat now, and it got a teensy bit of iron. But the lamb's quarter and the amaranth, high in iron. And it grows out in the wild here, but those are the food that we ate back to the areas that we came from, the country that we came from. No, you did not. Just...
I got 2 more questions for you, Jalen.
All right.
So what food item or whatever, or herb or whatever, do you think everybody's sleeping on, especially people in our age group?
Okay. Everybody sleeps on cheney root, sarsaparilla, because we need iron, and those are at the very top, you know, at the top for iron. We shouldn't be very sluggish throughout the day. We're in our 20s, we sluggish for, you know?
That's
but
a
we
good point.
eat a bunch of starch and blood.
Yeah.
When I say blood, I just mean like anything will have blood, like meats and stuff like that, or fish. We eat too much of that, and that stuff put a weight on us. It's like carrying a trash can, but putting it inside our belly, and that's how we do. We just move it. You know? So I enjoy like just being able to eat food and feel good afterwards.
Yeah.
Like I be feeling great when I have like sea moss in the morning, or if I take like this elderberry right here that I harvest, I make like either, it's something on me.
Just do like this. You got something in your head.
But I either make like gel from that, or I make tea from that.
There you go.
From the elderberry?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah,
that right
my
there
dad
keep
put
your
me
immune
on
system.
elderberry, and he put me on sea moss, and he would make some and then give it to me and my sister, and we would put it in smoothies, or sometimes I would just stick it in the coffee, and I couldn't tell. I mean, it was a little bit thicker in it, but I ain't tripping. I was like, I'll drink it.
I done got so used to it now. I get a spoon.
And you just, no, I ain't doing all of that. It's got like a jelly type of texture.
It remind me of like ocean water. It's not too like strong, but it just like remind me of like the ocean.
That
It
makes
don't
sense.
smell like turtle though. That's the difference. Now if it smell like turtle, that ain't bad.
Yeah. It don't really have too much of a strong smell or anything like that. And then my last question is
Do they like me or something?
my last question is what's your opinion on, I mean, you kind of already said it, what's your opinion on the pharmaceutical industry?
I don't like how they manipulate people. They have the whole white, suit on and everything, the white jacket, and they just kind of just scare people with long Latin words. Don't really tell you, but they tell you what's in the, what's in the medicine. But you have to look it up, or, spend time trying to find the root word for this and by the time you didn't buy the thing. Anybody about to sit there and buy it, they just get so frustrated, they just buy it.
Yeah.
I wish people actually know what's in the ingredients. Just like they, question me down about what's in the herbs they're taking, they should do the same for the medicine.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like I told them about the iron that they sell in the store is called iron oxide. But the one that we have, iron fluorine, which is natural, and then there's science. The science one, iron oxide, what it does is it gives you iron or a type of iron, but in the long run, you're gonna be constipated real bad. And if you look at that, you'll see sometimes babies are constipated, or babies like their poop will turn a different color from the formula, because that's the iron into it. That's that scientific iron. So my only thing is that they don't heal for the most part. They don't heal. They just treat. Like you said earlier, they just hide over the symptoms.
Yeah.
But that's slowly killing people because they're thinking they're fine. and they're still doing or eating the same thing would cause the problem.
Yeah, but they're not changing. Yeah, they're not changing their habits. They just want to take something to make it go away.
Yes, and my biggest issue, my second or first, one to two, biggest issue with the pharmaceutical is they make it very hard for certain people to cross over and stop taking the herbs or stop taking the medicine and go to the herbs. Because they'll have to wean themselves off for a long time because the medicine can
your
go
body gets
connect.
used to it. Oh.
Yeah, and see.
Like a drug.
Thank you. There we go.
Like a drug.
But sometimes you can't take the herbs, or you have to wean it off so that way you still have a little bit in you while you're taking the herbs. Because if you take the herbs and you're on a certain medication, it can mess you up very bad.
Yeah.
Because what they do is, they're not dumb people. They're very intelligent. The pharmaceuticals, they find out about these plants. And they make synthetic versions of it. And some synthetic versions can go against that plant. It's like magnet, attract and repel, two ends. It won't connect. It'll keep pulling and go this way and that way. But that's what it does. It don't connect to the body. It don't connect with the body. You have one that's natural and one that has been, you gotta make a recipe for it. So that is one of my biggest issues with pharmaceuticals. And they talk real bad about herbalists.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I think I've heard it. They kind of make it seem like conspiracy theory type.
With witch doctors or something. They be burning at the stake. That's what they treat us. Burn the witch.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think I can see why, because some people might go overboard and whatever else. But I mean, there's a reason why herbs exist, though. And and like a lot of seasonings in the store, a lot of seasonings are herbs.
Exactly. You take those herbs and they'll help you just the same.
Yeah, that's what people flavor their food. Well, you know, I can't say if you getting Lowry's or I can't tell you what's in there. But
that
like if you
salt,
get,
I don't do that.
if you pick up like individual paprika and this and that, they just grind it up. So, I mean, oregano, like you just grind it up. So
that's all that is to it. And we make oregano tea. We use oregano for baby baths and for our own baths. So oregano is a great plant I love to use.
Yeah.
This is my big worry, is that my only worry, well, my biggest worry and concern is the fact that they make us look bad, like we're, like you said, conspiracy theories, you know? And that's not exactly the case, because before they even had pills, because pills wasn't here for forever.
Yeah.
How else did they have to take these medications in a liquid form? Teas, or you know, concoctions, but it's the same thing. Tinctures are a thing. The one that I have right here, they make some of them make them just the same. So for them to say herbalists are bad or herbalists I wouldn't recommend, that is very disrespectful. Because the men and women who lived in like the Tuskegee area and like even in South Carolina with their midwife territory, like in Bamberg and stuff, they had people from university that came out and studied the medicine men and the birth workers, the conjure women. They would study them, and then they gathered the information, and then they vilified it. So you can't admire somebody and in the same breath or a breath or two later talk about them or make it seem like don't go to that person because you were just staying underneath them.
Yeah, but you know, humans be humaning.
Yeah, they're fickle.
Yeah, for sure. So Jalen, any last encouraging words for the people listening and watching?
Stay who you are. Stay weird. If you're weird, stay weird. If you stay who you are. That's the biggest thing that I'm glad I weird all my life, and it kept me into a bubble almost to the point where people kind of afraid, to either talk or be friends with me. And I'm kind of glad that happened because I was able to sift sift people out, you
Find the
know?
people who really here for you.
Because the bad one's gonna stay, and then the good one's gonna go through the hole, and they're gonna be right down there. Hey, friend. You know, I get to sift them out, you know, choosing. Because if you saw me at my worst, or what people thought was my worst, and now you get to see me blossom, I'll keep you around. And that's why, I put as much, I try to put 100% me in my videos. You see me laugh, you see me sing, you see me do whatever. You'll see my music style. Like, I love classical music. I love black classical music. Many Ella Fitzgerald, many Sarah Vaughan. You have Fela Kuti, Nina Simone, Lauryn Hill. I just like bringing myself in peace. You know, the music, before I even get to speak, people get to know who I am. Just by that. Or people get to see my different talents, my different crafts. You know, I be myself 100%. And being that I had to leave my hometown to do that, it says a lot, because now I get the love from my hometown. But I would have never got that had I not left and figure out who I was. I wouldn't have recognized it as love. So that is my biggest thing I push out to people. Be yourself.
Unless yourself is trash, then change that.
Right, or go away trash, go in the dumpster somewhere.
I don't mean trash. I mean, you know, if you see that you make some adjustments. That's all I'm saying. Just jokes.
Critique yourself.
So I have one more question for you before you wrap up. So I can see how some people may think like all the herbs and stuff is kind of overwhelming. It's like too much to think about, or they may not know where to go to get that stuff. So what's something that, you know, that's something you would recommend most people to use? One thing, and that's like easily accessible within a health store, maybe. Like for something that you may recommend for like headaches or tiredness or excessive hunger, like anything. Like this is one thing specifically.
Well, I would recommend sea moss. Sea moss is an appetite suppressant, and it gives you energy. So that right there in itself, you can use throughout the day, and it boosts your immune system. It helps with aphrodisiac properties, you know, purposes, and it's good for cold, you know, help get the phlegm out your chest and things like that. It's good for babies. You can give it to my son, my youngest one. He got it, a couple of days after he got here.
How you give it to them? How you do that?
I make a gel.
And do what with it?
And I put it into their milk.
Oh, really? Okay.
While it's liquid, I'll pour into the milk, and then it'll, you know, kind of get thicker. So that's very good to give to a child instead of giving cereal.
Okay. So you'd recommend sea moss?
I recommend sea moss. Yeah, I really recommend that. Sea moss is where it is. They even have dulse, which is a type of seaweed, and then bladderwrack, another one.
My dad would mix bladderwrack with the sea moss
It's
and then
good
give it
for
to
the
us.
colon. It cleans out the colon. It's good for fibroids too. So yeah, sea moss, you can't go wrong with sea moss.
And is it easier to find, like in stores and stuff? Or certain stores?
places.
Certain places, but the thing is, there's a big scam, you know, a big scandal with sea moss. People have their sea moss in a pool. You know, it's pool grown for a lot of people. That's the wrong way to do it. That's the wrong way to do it, because they don't get the nutrients from the sun, or they might get it from the sun because they may have it outdoor, but they don't get the nutrients from just aquatic life. You know,
It's like natural habitat.
Exactly. This right here is some sea moss. This is how it looks. Right here. And I can touch it because I rinsed this thing about 5-7 times before I even use it. But this is how it looks. This is real sea moss. Hold it. That's how it looks. Now, ones they be seeing sometimes, it look like big fat gummy worms. You ever seen them before? Like if you go look online or order it, they'll have tons of salt and it'd be real thick and swell up. That's not the kind you want. If you can't see rock pieces attached to it, it's not the kind you want. Because it's not real. It's not coming from a place of water. You know, it's not coming from the 7 seas.
Okay.
So that's what I recommend. But it's important to have iron too. So I recommend, you know, maybe boiling saw sarsaparilla. and then putting this with it.
But Jalen, where we gonna find the sarsaparilla at?
You can get that from a actual health store or herb store.
Okay.
I kind of trust that a little more versus getting that from there. This right here, you would probably have to find a nice supplier from an area. I know some people online on Instagram will sell it, so I get it from them. And I know a girl on Facebook, she get it right in Jamaica, Ocho Rio, Jamaica. While she's walking, she'll look at it and she'll see it on the shore side, she'll grab it. Or she'll go like to the water edge and she'll get it. So I like to get it from her, because I know it's real. I had shrimp poop lining in mine one time. I was cleaning it, that she had. And I just laughed and smiled because I knew that it was from a place of nature, a place of natural.
Okay. Where can people find you online?
Online, they can find me at Jayism on Instagram, Jayyizm. And that's just, the 3 parts of my name, Jay, and then ism is just the practice of being Jay. So that's just the practice of being me, an art form itself, which is why that's the first thing I tell people to do is to be their selves. You can find me on Facebook at Jalen Gordon, first, with the sign, and you'll see my work there. I do a lot of work on Instagram. I talk about the herbs, I talk about the basketry, and every now and then you'll see me paint and sketch. Because that's my first love that I used to do, that and writing, but you're not gonna see me writing for the most part. That's not gonna happen. You will see me talk about just the art of foraging and the art of basket making. You'll see me in the woods a lot. Ask a question and I'll be glad to answer. If you need anything far as some of the wild things that are wildcraft, I do sell those things. I do sell them sometimes, and if it's a rush or it's very important, I'll get to them. Like emergency cases, I'll really push to sell certain things now, but kind of taking a little break. Okay. I say I got a break, but I got something to do tomorrow. A class tomorrow.
Okay, cool. And go ahead and hit subscribe on wherever you at, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, whatever you watching, listening to this on. And we'll catch y'all later. Bye. Oh, I'm sweaty.